I'm going to ask you one question that I ask every law enforcement officer that I encounter. Can you state the First Amendment?
Can I state the First
Yeah.
Amendment?
How long have you been a law enforcement officer? 23 years. Can you state the First Amendment? It's very simple.
Yeah, you have the right to be secure in your person's place and things, right?
That is the Fourth Amendment.
Fourth Amendment.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons,
Yeah.
houses,
The First Amendment?
taxes, the Fourth Amendment.
Can I refresh you on it right quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. Freedom of speech,
Freedom of speech.
freedom of religion,
Yes.
right? Freedom to assemble, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble and redress your government peacefully, right? That's very important when you're out policing, especially in a situation like this, because sometimes people get rowdy, and sometimes things happen. If they break the law and they injure somebody, and there's a victim, then definitely that's what you guys are hired and paid for. You know, we understand that you guys have a job to do, but you got to keep in mind that you're out working for the people, and there's some boundaries that can't be crossed, and those people have human rights. And the Constitution and the First Amendment was written to limit the scope of authority that any agent or law enforcement agent or any public official may have over the people. So if they're yelling, "I'm standing right here, motherfucker," like a guy did in Arizona, and got arrested for it, that was a total violation of his civil rights. This country is upside down because we have a lot. We're in debt, and we're paying lawsuits out. And you got to understand that most lawsuits are paid out because of simple civil rights violations, and that's because officers like you who've been on the force for 23 years, you can't even state it, which is the first law of the land. So what law are you out enforcing? It's an embarrassment. I'm sorry to say that you didn't know it. But my goal is to change that so that you guys know it. And because without knowing it, let me ask you this. How is this a sustainable system if you guys don't know the first law of the land and the people are not being taught their rights? That's why.
Like we can film.
Yeah. He does know that.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But now you know it in context. And now you'll be able
I
to.
never doubted the context.
Right.
And like many things.
Right. And that's the oath that you.
I wouldn't be able to tell you what I had for breakfast last week. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things that the recollection.
No, but this
when you
is.
started mentioning it, absolutely, I remember.
Okay, yeah, this is America.
And I do believe in the Constitution. I swore an oath to uphold it. I swore an oath to protect all those things.
But you can't uphold it if you can't remember it, man.
Sure I can.
And no disrespect, man, no disrespect. But
Likewise, it's not. You asked me for a specific definition. You're filming me, obviously. You know, it's one of those things.
I feel like you're put on the spot.
Absolutely. Right? And so
There's nothing to be nervous about, though, right? Like if we shouldn't be nervous that you have a gun, you should absolutely not be nervous that we have a camera.
and I'm not. You know what I mean?
So
If you make mistakes, the people will understand that you're genuine.
I've always believed that.
You've been pretty genuine.
I've always believed that. And you know what? I've always lived my career based on that too. I believe, you know what? People make decisions. Sometimes there's consequences to their decisions. But I still treat everybody with respect. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. And I agree with you. You have a very valid point. Is this country upside down? It is in absolute turmoil. Wrong is right.
and a lot of it is because the people don't know their rights, and you guys really can't recite the First Amendment, which is the most important.
I think there's a greater issue, but now we're
No, but listen, man, this is America, bro, and freedom should be at the topic on every dinner table in every household, bro, and that should be talked about in every household so that we can. We can regurgitate it. We could talk about it. We could know it, just like we know our birthdays, our social security numbers, and everything else. That you understand, and I'm gonna tell you something else, bro. Your parents that birthed you, they gave you those freedoms. It's not the government. You know what I'm saying? It's your parents that gave you the freedoms. The Constitution was written to limit the scope of authority. Did you know that they're not even teaching the kids cursive writing anymore? You want to know why? Because the Bill of Rights was written in cursive writing. They want the people to forget it. What role are you going to continue to play in this country? That's all I'm asking. No disrespect. You understand what I'm saying?
That's such a broad question. Can you be more specific?
Yeah. are you going to continue to police without knowing these things? You know, in reality, you should talk to all your friends and buddies. Say, look, man, I was put on the spot.
I don't know them. I do know them. You have to
Right, right.
to recite like specifically what it was. Okay. And
Right.
You know, trying to recall a memory. No, I didn't remember. And I even told you
And the
along
Second
way.
Amendment was written to
But
protect the First
I know
Amendment.
the generalizations of it. Okay. And when it comes down to specifics, like everything, even you know,
Sergeant.
it's been a long. I've been around doing this for a long time. There's a lot that we're responsible for. There's a lot that people hold us accountable. And so I take that with great responsibility, and I do that every day. I don't wake up with any evil intent in my heart to go out and harm anybody or do anything. My goal in life is to, I sleep well at night because I know that I've tried to help everybody I can. So when you ask, what is it that I'm trying to do? I am trying to uphold all the laws of the land, the Constitution, everybody's rights, and figure out right is ultimately be the peacemaker amongst everybody because there's a lot of difference of opinions and different opinions even here amongst this outfit.
And you know, I do this a lot, right? What I do, and I go out and I ask questions, and I try to have cordial conversations with police officers. I on my channel, I highlight the good and the bad. You know, I let police officers show themselves for what they are. I'm the man behind the camera. You know what I mean? I'm the guy nobody cares to see. You guys are the ones that are representing something huge, and we're beginning to find a lot of answers to the questions that we have. You know, we're beginning to understand policies. We're beginning to understand things like I can blow your mind with things that I know. You know what I mean? Like I can talk about qualified immunity. I can talk about absolute immunity, which officials have what should be, you know, where we should continue to go. Is this a sustainable system? Is this the great route that we're going down? You know what I mean? I understand we the people, make mistakes, and that's what you guys are hired for. But like I said, man, when you guys when we make mistakes, that's what you guys are there for, to hem us up and to let the court system deal with us. When you guys make mistakes, we see it often where many police officers, and I'm not saying specifically you, but turn the other cheek. We have internal investigations, another policy that needs to be looked at. Police unions that allow bad officers to continue to go from one place to another. Like, we're out there talking about certain things like racism. Let's say we wave a magic wand and get rid of racism tomorrow. The next day we're gonna need to hold up signs that say, let's get rid of the narcissists. Because we have a lot of issues going on, and these policies protect bad officers. You know what I mean? And until you understand it, until you get off this propaganda train, back the blue line flag, and I can blow your mind with another quick sentence. Officer safety isn't heroism, it's cowardice. Public safety is heroism. That's what we pay you for. We shouldn't praise you for what you get paid for. We need heroes out there, not cowards that are afraid of a camera or a spray can or a phone or whatever reason that people are getting killed for. It's an issue. It's an issue, and it's just this is the importance of what needs to be put on the table at every dinner table, man, of every police officer, of every citizen, of everybody who has social media, and get off this MSM, train, mainstream media train, and what they feed us, the propaganda. It's embarrassing and it's disgusting to see the blue line flags up in our police stations. Who's paying for that? The people? The propaganda to continue to back a system that is ultimately failing. It's not, and don't get me wrong, police officers do a lot of good, man. I see it. I see a lot of the good that police officers do, but that's what you guys get paid for. You know what I mean? That's the money. Should we defund the police? I don't believe so. We should ultimately check on them policies and see how they're gonna continue to work or gonna continue to not work. And even when police are held accountable, the money comes from the constituents. It doesn't come from you guys. You guys should be paying for your own insurance. We can go on and on and on and on and on. So that way the good officers.
There's a lot that you said so much, and there's so many different
Angles.
holes that we could go down, you know, on so many things.
Right.
And you're right. Could I? I can't fix it all.
No.
You know what I mean? And do we get generalized? Absolutely, we get generalized. Just like a lot of other people and groups and everything.
You know, I read a comment the other day
All
on
I
my
can
channel.
do is what I can do every day myself to make sure that I do walk that straight line. Make sure I don't violate people's rights.
Right.
Make sure that I do enforce the laws that I've sworn to do.
Right.
When those that don't like it, sometimes I have to do that, right? Now my job is a little bit different. I don't go into enforcement. On the contrary, now I go into crisis stabilization. You know, and so that's what my focus and intent has been. Have I done other things in my career? I have. You know, as far as enforcement, work patrol, been a detective, do all those other things. So I bring a lot of knowledge. You know what I mean? And so with that, I live my life in that way to make sure that everybody that I serve, no matter where I'm at, whether it be here in Venice or anywhere else in LA County, because it's over 4,000 square miles that we have to provide services to. So there's a lot of asks, you know, and very limited resources.
Right.
Is that a blue line ring?
What's that?
Is that a blue line ring?
No, it's a black ring.
Okay.
You know,
The blue line?
Do
Like
I have
you wear
a
the
blue
blue
line?
line flag? Or, okay. Yeah.
it starts, you do your part as well, not just go out and doing the job, your day-to-day job, because you're going to become complacent, and then, you know, you're going to be afraid to lose your job, so you're going to do whatever they tell you to do.
Complacency is something we deal with and we talk about every day because it is the cancer. I think I look at it as
And what is the
cancer.
cure for that? The cure for that is for you to understand the policies, understand where the people are coming from, understand. Look, and I tell you what, man, I delete all violent comments that are violence towards police officers because I don't believe that. Okay,
Yeah.
and I got to tell you, man, I don't believe in this us versus them mentality, and I don't want to say that I agree with this comment that I read recently, but it opened my eyes to a lot of something that's going on, and it says. Police officers have this us versus them mentality. You know, you can see it clearly on the videos. If they really want to go down that route, ultimately in the end, they're gonna lose. And
disagree with that.
you disagree with that? Let me ask you this:
Some
if
aspects, because you're making judgment based off a two-dimensional image, and there's
in which way?
If you're looking at a video and you're seeing what you see, it's a two-dimensional image. There's a lot that you're missing. Just like we have an interaction.
Right.
Everybody smells, hears, sees what's going on around us. All you have is this image of what I'm saying, and there's so many things in it, right? As a human being, we deal with multiple senses, and I think that's one of the challenges. Are there things that have been questionable? Absolutely. Do I cringe at some of the things that I've seen? I do. Do I shake my head? Yeah. But you know what? In the times that I've had encounters that may not have gone the way I know I wanted them to go, because people made decisions on their end and chose to have to put me in a situation where I either have to defend myself, you know, or use force, right, to ultimately arrest them because of the violation that they committed. You're constantly dealing with other people's choices and decisions. I'm still trying to make those, as a people, I say I, it's hard. I've been in those situations. I've made decisions, but it's hard to say exactly based off of video what truly transpired. Was there more? Was there not? Most things on video always look horrible, especially when they whittle down, clip it. You need context and everything.
You would use video to put somebody in jail, wouldn't you? Use it as evidence on the stand?
And that's the thing. It's part of the evidence, right? But there's always more to it than just that.
What if you just have video? I mean, you'd use it.
Well,
So even with,
but here's the thing: is when it comes, so you got to understand, when it comes to prosecution, that's going to be the DAs and the judicial system.
Sure, but you gather the evidence
we're
first.
gonna gather the information, whether it be witness statements, information we have, find out if a crime's occurred based on the elements of the crime. Yes, we can make an arrest, and then you present everything to the district attorney, who ultimately says, yes, I have enough to prosecute.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who put on that prosecution.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get on the stand and be like, well, I don't know. I mean, I think he did this crime. I have video of him doing this crime, but it's a two-dimensional image that we're looking at here, and you know, it's only part of it. You can't smell anything.
Well, I
You
get
know.
that, but if you're asking me to review something,
But
on
that's what you
video,
just said about a video like
well,
of
I did,
you.
based on the conversation we were having.
Yeah.
He said when you look at videos and you see everything that's happening, that's my direct statement to that. Is if
Yeah.
I'm just viewing a video and I wasn't there to see everything and heard from everybody else, I can't give you a definitive response on whether or not those actions were right or not. There's a lot
Sure.
more that comes into it, and that's why I believe we leave the prosecution of both officers, criminals, anybody else. And I don't mean to make it
No, you can't do it because of policy.
Okay.
Policy restricts you from doing that.
there are
right?
people who
Making
will
a
look at the
judgment.
totality of the
Yeah.
case to ultimately see if prosecution is justified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that takes a lot more.
Yeah.
I have friends and family that go, hey, look at this video. What do you think? And I always say, I can't.
You can't because you're
I can't.
restricted by policy.
Number one,
But
like
we
because
can.
of all these cameras, everything I'm saying right now, I know can be used against me, can make me look like horrible, whatever. You know,
I don't
there.
think you're
Well,
gonna
there.
look
I hope
horrible.
not. You know, there are those that have one desire, and that's to make us look like evil beings and continue to turn public against us.
Do you know who this is?
No, I don't actually. I was gonna
This
ask
is
you.
San Joaquin Valley Transparency, Sam the man. He's just not out here to make you look bad.
Cool. Nice to meet you, Sam. I guess
San the man. San Joaquin Valley Transparency.
So, San Joaquin.
Valley Transparency.
I've not heard. I spend more time out here than I do on my social media, so which I really don't have. So it's one of those things. I focus on what I can do. But that was the difference that I was trying to make.
That's good, and you're right. And honestly, you should see some of these channels nowadays because they kind of all the information they provide it kind of builds like a case, so that way the people they know all the facts as much as possible, at least going into the video, and the way they explain it and all the laws, they pull up all the penal codes and stuff, so that way the people can get a really good idea and make their own decision on whether or not they think that police officer is good. There's a lot of good channels you have to go and look at, and they kind of provide it kind of like of the people are watching it and are the jury. You make the decision on whether or not you think this police officer acted in his right will, you know? In reality, the people have a right to film because of that reason.
Sure.
And how you said, like, it is two-dimensional
Like
when you
said,
don't.
First Amendment right.
Yeah, when you don't provide all the evidence that is possible, it does look like a two-dimensional thing. But you have people who are
But
working on it.
there's a procedure for that, and it's the judicial procedure. And so and sometimes people want things now. And in the world we live of instant, everything is instant. We can microwave everything. We can have it readily. I mean, imagine if,
Sometimes that judicial system isn't fair, and I can give you one quick example. Okay, we get in trouble, we have to pay for expensive lawyers. You get in trouble, we have to pay for your expensive lawyers. That's it. Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
yeah.
I've been down that
The
road,
taxpayers-
and nobody's ever paid for my lawyers.
Well, that's when you've been on duty. Have you ever been in trouble on duty?
Yeah.
And you've had to pay for your own lawyer?
Yep.
Taxpayers pay for that.
Nope.
You got sued personally?
Have I been?
Well, that must be what you're talking about.
Well, there's just different circumstances. I'm not going to get into it, but there's different circumstances, and I know that no taxpayer money was used towards that. So,
Okay.
now whether or not there's I know I've been named in lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff, but the department, if it's in the course of my duty, and the department is named, yeah, they'll defend themselves. They'll defend us.
We
as well,
pay for those
because
attorneys, right?
We're their agents, right?
So-
we're their officers, and so it's the organization.
So I was correct.
Right?
I was
It
correct.
depends on the context,
Yeah, the
right?
money that comes from
But
the check that we pay.
so maybe the answer is yes and no. Like I said, in my personal experiences where I've had to defend myself, I've had to pay for my own.
Against the public or against the department?
Oh,
Haha. Sam the man just caught it, man. Look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sued the department.
You know, we have a lot of. I'm gonna tell you something, man. A book's been written because of the work that we inspire and go out and do. Because I try to bring a dialogue, and I'm gonna have a couple podcasts coming soon with different one's a law enforcement officer, one's a retired fish and game warden for 23 years, and 24 years, something like that, and he also is an author. He wrote several books, and he wrote a book that was inspired by all of our work, stuff that we do. We don't try to go out and make police look bad, man. You know, and I'm gonna tell you this: I'm not anti-cop, but I'm not pro-cop either. It's a system that we have to understand. You know, and are we going to uh, continue to go down the road that we've been on? I think there's a lot to discuss. As you can tell, I've been doing this a while as well. We, you know, maybe you can watch later on and see where we're going with this. Maybe you can help. You know, I would say you can help first things first by memorizing what that First Amendment is, what the people's rights are. Because people make mistakes, man, and I'm not gonna lie. People are shitty. I see people, they're shitty too. But people are good, man. And sometimes those good people get their rights violated. And sometimes there's good people out there. And I'm gonna, if you're someone, even if you're a police officer, or something, and you watch rated R movies that have a lot of cuss words and all kinds of crazy shit that you're watching, if you can pay for that, and you can't stand the public for what they say, or people are getting arrested all the times for what they say to police out there, man. We got to stop enforcing our feelings out there in policy. Sometimes policy oversteps the boundaries of the Constitution, the people's rights, and that's where the people come in, man. That's where we, you know, in reality, I'm nobody special, bro. I'm just one of the people, you know, and we have to understand all that, you know. And I hope that you go about your day and appreciate this conversation, bro. I do. I appreciate you lending us your ears, you know, and in reality, you know, acknowledging that what I said, you know, had hold some merit, you know, maybe so is valid points. Something we can all continue
I
to.
would 100% agree with you that this nation is further and further walking away from its foundation.
Right.
And it's true. I would not disagree with that at all. Do we need to know our Constitution inside and out? Absolutely. It's what holds us together.
That's
and
right,
the minute
man.
we give that up, we're not America anymore.
We're giving it up, bro. We're giving it up,
You know what I
man.
mean? And apparently we're just a couple of individuals here who agree that we shouldn't.
Right.
It's the rest that we need to try and either convince.
And you're a sergeant, right? So you're a sergeant. So you have officers that you have to look over and supervise. You know, can you promise the people that you will do your best to make sure that they understand the First Amendment? Because ultimately they're gonna be pointing the finger at, and they're gonna be getting the bird and stuff like that. And
And here's the thing is, my guys too, I hope, you know, we talked about.
oh man, we see a lot of mistakes, man. You know,
I know.
we see a lot of mistakes going
We
on.
were here earlier. It's one of those things where there are, nevertheless, there's a human factor, right?
Right.
And, you know, the department spends a lot of time in training, spends a lot of money. I was an instructor.
But dude, how ugly is this that we're paying so much in training, but hardly none of them, 99.9% of the officers that I encounter, law enforcement, sheriff's deputies, they can't even state the First Amendment, bro. And that to me is a little bit sad, because that's ultimately what's gonna stop this escalation. And you know what, man, you know, officers always act like, oh, somebody's not listening, you know, over a misdemeanor, step out of the vehicle for my safety and all this and that, right? Pennsylvania versus Mims says you have to, you know, it's a horrible thing, man. And it doesn't, when people like feel like they haven't committed a crime, they're gonna be disobedient, man. You know what I mean? And you know, not everybody knows law, just like they don't know the First Amendment, right? So people are gonna argue and fight. And when police officers say, oh shit, it's the law, bam, get out, fucking chugging on him with the seatbelt still on, tasing his balls out of Arizona. I mean, all kinds of shit going on, because they act like they're what? They don't have no time to de-escalate. Dude, when people are arrested, cops hang around for an hour sometimes talking this and that. That hour could have been spent, hey man, you know, like talking to the guy, say, okay, I understand you don't feel like you got to get out, but let's look it up online, man. Let's look up Google. Let's see if you have to get out of the vehicle. I'll call my supervisor out here who should know the First Amendment or different things, you know, because look, man, if a person feels like they didn't commit a crime, let's say a man feels like he's being targeted or whatever, and let's say he's doing everything by the book, and a lot of times people are recording because of technology, they're recording in their vehicles and everything, and sometimes can actually prove that they didn't commit a crime, right? Sometimes police officers are being caught speeding, and people are pulling the police officer over and putting the camera on him and saying, slow down, dude. You know, you can't, and where I live, cops are speeding all the time with no lights. a sheriff deputy. We got 3 agencies, right? Highway Patrol, Police Department, and Kern County Sheriff. We got 3 different agencies, right? And a sheriff deputy killed a man and his girlfriend. They were walking a motorcycle and the girlfriend was pregnant, you know. But the police didn't learn a lesson from that. They're still hauling ass up and down everywhere, up and down the streets, you know. And it's crazy, dude. No accountability. And where's the news? You know, we are considered. If anybody's holding the camera and says, "I know my rights," the police write it down, jot it down, sovereign citizen, and all this and that bullshit. But when police have these policies that protect them, bro, and feel like they could do whatever they want, even start gangs within the departments, you guys become ultimately the sovereign citizens of this country and truly become the traitors of the people, bro. And it's a sad thing to say. You might not look at it this way because you guys still You guys still do good deeds.
I mean,
You guys still continue to do good deeds because of your job. Right.
you're lumping us all into one category.
But because of the policy,
We lost the ability to think.
the good officers have lost the ability to. The good officers have lost the ability to turn in the bad officers.
No, they haven't.
Internal affairs don't do nothing.
They haven't lost the ability.
Have you ever testified against an officer?
No, I've never had to.
So you've been.
Somebody made you do it.
No, I've never been put in a situation where I would have had to testify against somebody. Either because we check
Every
ourselves.
day we find an
You're asking if
officer.
I've had to do it. I'm telling you,
I mean, you're a
have not.
sergeant. It's just so unbelievable on its face that you've
Why?
never seen an officer do anything wrong because we see it on a daily basis multiple times. And there's just no way you could get the sergeant.
Probably
without
because
seeing
when a
it.
sergeant comes around, everybody's on their toes,
True.
right? And so it's not there for me to see.
Not always.
Okay?
We see a
No,
lot of
you're right, I haven't
sergeants
had
come and
to.
back up their officers.
But again, other
23 years, he says, on the
not
department.
23. I've been on the department for 23 years.
Would you ever follow an unconstitutional order?
I have been a sergeant for going on 9 years, something like that, 8 or 9. Have I ever followed an
No. Would you ever follow? Like for instance, if they told you to go door to door and confiscate people's firearms, it's an unconstitutional order. People have not committed a crime. Because we understand warrants, people do shit, they got to get the warrants, and that's what you get. You wouldn't do it? Thank you. Anything else you want to add to that?
no, I didn't.
Shout out to Wake the Sheep on that one, guys.
Lady Justice does have a question.